Alright, y'all, so this is my second attempt at recording. After my 30-minute first one, it said it failed and it did not save, so hopefully this goes better. Just a few reminders while I'm not here. Your behavior while I'm gone is a quiz grade. Your cell phones need to be put away unless tech time. The sub does have notation in their notes about tech time. However, it is their discretion whether to allow you that or not. I have given them that decision. You know they need to be put away whenever we're taking notes, whenever we're doing a worksheet, stuff like that, minus your little break in the middle. With that being said, you also need to make sure that you're in your correct seats. Some of y'all are really bad about that. We will get new seats once I return, but I was not going to issue new seats to a sub. So just make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to do while I am not here. By now, all of your exams should be over. The topic that I am teaching today is consecutive integers, which is a review. And you will have a worksheet that is due before you leave class today, being that it will be Friday. You do not have homework. And we'll start getting into some more in-depth topics next week once I return. Okay, so let's get started. All right, consecutive integers. Remember, we start with n being the first one at all times, okay? Consecutive 1, 2, and 3. So we're going to go from there and do n plus 1 and n plus 2. All right, even and odd, though, some of you are still mixing these up. Even, okay, we still start with n. To get to 4, though, we need to do n plus 2 and then n plus 4. Most of y'all are good on even, but remember, odd is the same way. It starts with n, it goes n plus 2, and n plus 4. Okay, so those are all the same. Some of y'all are trying to use 1 and 3 for odd, and that doesn't work because if your n was 5, 5 plus 1 gives you 6, and you're now not an odd number. All right, so I'm going to work through a few of these. Okay, and make sure that you're on the right track. Then I'm going to skip some. And after I skip some, at the end of this recording, I'll stop, let you go back and work through the ones that I have skipped and give you time to do that. And then we'll press play again, and the video will go back to where I complete those to make sure your work is correct. Okay, once y'all start getting the hang of it, some of y'all are going to want to try to move ahead. I understand that. However, you need to make sure that you're checking them whenever the video goes over it. If for some reason the video starts going too fast, because y'all know how I talk fast and I teach fast, and especially I do that even with students in here. So right now I'm teaching to an empty classroom, therefore I have nobody answering my questions for me to slow me down. So if at any time you do need the substitute to stop the video, to pause it, to go back, simply raise your hand and ask in a nice manner for that to happen. I don't need you hooting and hollering, you know, oh, that's too fast, you need to slow down, I need you to go back. You just need to simply ask. These videos are sometimes temperamental, so it might be a little hard to get exactly where you need it. But I will also post these on Google Classroom over the weekend. So if you did miss something, you can always get it from there. All right, so problem number 1, find 4 consecutive integers with the sum of 178. Okay, there's 4 of them, and they are just consecutive. So we're going to start with n plus 1, n plus 2, and n plus 3. All right, add them all up. That gives me 1, 2, 3, 4 n's. Plus 6 is going to equal 178. At this point, every one of you should be able to solve a 2-step equation. Okay, I'm going to start by subtracting my 6 and then dividing by 4. All right, and if you need to actually work that out, then go over somewhere on your paper and divide 4 into 172 by hand. 4 goes into 17 4 times. And 4 goes into 12 3 times. That gives us an n equals 3. I'm sorry, 43. That's just the first one. It wanted 4, so 43 is the first. That gives me 44, 45, and 46. Okay, we did kind of cover consecutive integers right before your exam because there were some in your review. So this shouldn't be complete new to anybody. Okay, 3 consecutive odd. So look back at your first page up there where you have your symbols. Consecutive odd is going to be n plus 2, and n plus 4. The sum of those, so that gives me 3n plus 6 is going to equal 99. All right, go ahead and solve out that equation. All right, so you're going to start by subtracting your 6. And n would equal, because we're dividing by 3, okay, n would equal 31. Okay, that is your first one, 31. Okay, and consecutive odd means the next one's going to be 33 and 35. All right, so I'm going to skip this problem here. We will come back to it. The only thing I will tell you about this problem when you get back to it is you notice your sum is negative. That means that your numbers should be negative whenever you find them. All right. Okay, a little bit more complicated. The sum of 4, or find 4 consecutive odd integers. Okay, so automatically we know that's going to be n plus 2, n plus 4, and n plus 6 consecutive odd. No matter what it says, you know that the symbols for consecutive, consecutive even, and consecutive odd, you know what they are. Okay, so you can start that before you even read the next line. Such that the sum of the second and fourth, so this time it only wants the second and the fourth. So those are the only ones that we're going to add together. So n plus 2 plus n plus 6 is going to equal 58. Okay, so 2n plus 8 equals 58. Give you a second to finish that problem out. All right, so we're going to go back in here and notice that that's going to give you 2n equals 50, so n is going to equal 25. 25 is your first one, and it wanted 4, and they are consecutive odds, so 25, 27, 29, and 31. Y'all just bear with my board. Remember, I'd originally done it on paper, but like I said, that recording didn't save, and I thought maybe it was because it was on paper, so we shall see. All right, find 4 consecutive integers, so stop right there and write your symbols. Okay, just say consecutive, such that the sum of the first and the fourth, So the first and the fourth equals 39. Combining like terms and solve your two-step equation. All right, so when we solve this out, it's going to be 2n is equal to 36, so n is equal to 18. All right, so 18 is the first, followed by 19, 20, and 21. All right, so I'm going to skip this next one and let you work on that one in a minute. All right, and that's going to take us to the final type that we have in our notes for today. Like I said, they aren't insanely difficult, but it does add one more step. Okay, find three consecutive integers. Again, everybody should already be writing these down as soon as they read that. N plus 1, and n plus 2. Such that twice the first, twice means 2 times the first, plus the third equals 26. Okay, so that gives us this. And we're going to solve from there. Okay, so that gave you 8 as your first integer, which gives us 9 and then 10. Okay, I'm going to work through the next one, and then I'm going to pause and let you work through the remainder of the problems. I'll give you maybe 5 minutes or so to do that, and then we'll come back in and I'll go over those. All right, so what we got here is we've got 4 consecutive odds. So n plus 2, n plus 4, and n plus 6. These are your consecutive odds, such that 3 times the largest. So our largest integer is what? So 3 times that, plus twice the smallest, equals 63. All right, use your distributive property here. So 3n plus 18 plus 2n is going to equal 63. All right, so we're going to subtract our 18. And that's going to give you 45. So then our n equals what, y'all? 45 divided by 5. Yes, n is 9. So 9, and then 11, 13, and 15. Okay, so you need to go back and start back on at the beginning. I think it was the 3rd problem that I didn't do, and then maybe the 6th problem, and then you have 2 more of these that you need to complete right now. Okay, so if my substitute or somebody in each class, you kind of know how to do this. If you'll pause the video at this point and allow them time to work through, give them about between 5 and 10 minutes. It shouldn't take more than 10 minutes as long as they're working. If you notice they're not working, y'all know better. But if you notice they're not working, then clearly they know. I can create a quiz on quizzes that we can do first thing Monday morning. Just make sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. So I'm going to pause the video now, let y'all work through those, and I'll come back in and I will start on this problem right here. All right, so now I'm going to go over each one of these, starting with the first. Okay, find three consecutive even integers. So we've got n plus 2, and n plus 4. And y'all should be checking, not copying. At this point, you should have worked this out. So how fast I go through this problem shouldn't be an issue. Again, however, if you need the sub to pause it, just make sure you raise your hand politely and let them know. Okay, so that's going to give me 3n plus 6 is going to equal to negative 54. All right, know your integer rules right here, y'all. Signs are the same, so we add and keep the sign. So that makes n equal to negative 20. All right, now pay attention because some of y'all messed this up. Negative 20 is your first one. When you add 2 to negative 20, it gives you negative 18, not negative 22. So correct that if you have that wrong. And then negative 16. Okay. All right, so we did these together. That takes me to here. 5 consecutive integers, okay, even, sorry, 5 consecutive even, so that's n plus 2, n plus 4, n plus 6, and n plus 8, such that the sum of the first and the fourth is negative 66, so the first and the fourth. So that's 2n plus 6 is equal to negative 66. Again, integer rules here, that should have given you negative 72. And divide by 2, and n should be negative 36. Okay, negative 36 is your first. It wants all of them. So that's going to be negative 36, negative 34, negative 32, negative 30, and negative 28 are your 5. All right, went through there. So it takes us here. 3 consecutive even, n plus 2, and n plus 4, such that 3 times the smallest added to twice the largest equals 28. All right, distributive property, y'all, that's going to give you 2n plus 8. Okay, so this is going to give me 5n, and let's subtract our 8. So 5n equals 20. Divide by 5, and n should equal 4. 4 should have been your first number for this problem, and then your next two even integers would have been 6 and 8. All right, and the last one, I believe, 4 consecutive integers such that 4 times the smallest integer plus 3 times the largest integer is 63. Okay, 4 consecutive, so that's n plus 1, n plus 2, and n plus 3. Like I said, everybody should be able to write those symbols out. No matter what the rest of the problem says, you should at least have your symbols written. Okay, 4 times the smallest plus the largest is equal to 63. Okay, so 5n is going to equal 60. So n is going to equal 12. So 12 is your smallest. And then since they are consecutive, it's 12, 13, 14, and 15. All right, so that was the last one. Okay, you now have your reteach notes filled in. At this point, you're going to get your worksheet. I expect you to work on it. And make sure you turn that in to the box or to the sub, either one. That's completely up to the substitute's discretion before you leave. But that, if it is not turned in before you leave, then that is going to be a 0 for you for today. All right, y'all get started.